Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing amazing today. In this video, we're diving into the latest updates about Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos. You don't want to miss this. So make sure to stay tuned till the end, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. The studio lights of Live with Kelly and Mark glowed with their usual morning warmth, but something felt different, tense, fragile, electric in a way that only happens when silence hides a story. Behind the curtain, Kelly Ripa stood unusually still, her fingers curled around a warm mug she had barely sipped. Her eyes looked bright but strained, as if she had cried earlier or was holding tears back now. The audience murmured with anticipation. They were used to laughter, playful banter, inside jokes, and the natural rhythm of a couple who had lived their life publicly yet gracefully. But today, Kelly's smile had a quiver, and even the crew sensed something shifting beneath the surface. 30 seconds, a producer called. Kelly inhaled, steadying herself. Just a few feet away, Mark Consuelos sat in the chair they shared every weekday morning. He gave her a soft smile, gentle, reassuring, the kind that said, "I'm here." But behind his eyes was a quiet exhaustion, a shadow of weight he had been carrying for months. They had promised not to make it public yet. They had promised to keep the struggle private, but Kelly felt the swell of emotion rising like a wave she could no longer stand against. The cameras blinked on. "Good morning, everyone," Kelly began, her voice firm but softer than usual. "Welcome to Live. Today it is a special show." "Special?" Mark teased lightly. "You didn't tell me that." She tried to laugh, but something in her expression dimmed. Mark immediately sensed it. His hand slid discreetly toward hers beneath the table, resting against her fingers. The audience chuckled politely, unaware that they were witnessing the opening notes of something deeply personal. Kelly looked at the script. Then she let it fall shut. "I need to speak from the heart today," she said, her voice breaking on the last word. Mark's eyes widened slightly. "Kel, you don't have to." "I do," she whispered. The audience fell silent. Even the crew paused. Kelly breathed out shakily. For months now, Mark has been dealing with something privately. Something that has affected him, affected us, and affected every moment of our lives behind the scenes. Mark looked down, jaw tightening. He hadn't wanted this. He had begged her to wait. But the tremble in her voice told him the burden had become too heavy for her to carry quietly. "When you've shared your life with someone for almost 3 decades, she continued, you can feel their fear before they speak it. You can see the pain behind their smile. I know him better than I know myself. And lately, he hasn't been okay." A hushed gasp rippled through the audience. Mark placed his hand on top of hers firmly now, no longer hiding the gesture. His voice was calm, steady. "Kelly, sweetheart, we don't have to do this on live TV." She shook her head, tears building fast. "I want people to understand why some days you've been quieter, why you've missed rehearsals, why you've seemed tired. I want them to know you're human, and you're trying, and you're stronger than anyone realizes." The camera zoomed in slightly, capturing Kelly's trembling chin. "In the last 6 months," she said slowly, "Mark has been facing a health challenge. Something we thought would pass quickly, something we thought we could manage without involving anyone else. But lately, it's gotten harder." Mark squeezed her hand. "It's not life-threatening," he assured the audience, noticing their alarm. "Let's make that clear." Kelly nodded. "But it is life-changing, and it has taken a toll." She looked at him with an expression that held decades of love, weddings, babies, anniversaries, arguments, celebrations, and quiet nights no cameras would ever see. "I watched you wake up in the middle of the night," she said. "I watched you pretend to be strong for me and the kids. I watched you try to hide the pain because you didn't want to worry anyone. And I'm done pretending everything is fine." A tear slipped down her face. The audience sat frozen. No whispers, no murmurs, only the gentle hum of studio lights. Mark exhaled slowly. "Well," he said softly, "since we're here, I guess it's time." He turned to the cameras, shoulders squared with the confidence of a man who had built a career on resilience. Yet his eyes showed the vulnerability of someone who finally let himself be seen. "I've been dealing with a condition that affects my energy, my movement, and some days, my ability to keep up with everything I want to do. I didn't want it to become a public thing. I didn't want sympathy. I didn't want headlines or speculation." Kelly wiped her eyes. "He didn't even want our kids to worry." But, Mark continued, I also don't want people thinking I'm distant or disengaged. I'm still me. I'm still here. I'm still fighting. Kelly leaned into him, her voice a whisper. And you don't have to fight alone. The audience erupted into gentle applause, supportive, emotional, heartfelt. Kelly looked out at them, almost overwhelmed. We all go through struggles, she said. But we don't talk about them enough. We hide them because we're afraid of being judged or pitied. But if opening up helps even one person who's dealing with something silently, then this moment is worth it. Mark nodded. We're a family here, and families tell the truth, even when it's hard. Kelly smiled through her tears, especially when it's hard. He wrapped an arm around her shoulder, pressing a kiss to her temple. I'll be fine, he whispered. You know that. I know, she said. But I needed the world to know, too, so they can love you the way I do. For the rest of the show, the energy shifted. It wasn't heavy, it was honest, authentic, real in a way television rarely allows itself to be. Kelly laughed again. Mark teased her. The rhythm returned, softened but stronger somehow. And when the cameras finally shut off, Kelly turned to him and whispered, Thank you for letting me share this. Mark cupped her face gently. Thank you for not letting me face it alone. They embraced, wrapped in the kind of love that survives storms, secrets, and the fragile truths revealed in the quiet moments between breaths. And for the first time in months, both of them finally exhaled. The quiet backstage hallway hummed with the faint buzz of studio equipment, but it felt strangely peaceful after the emotional intensity of the show. The crew moved softly, speaking in hushed voices as if they all understood that something sacred had unfolded on stage. Kelly and Mark walked side by side, still holding hands, not for the cameras this time, but because neither wanted to let go just yet. Their footsteps echoed lightly on the polished floor, the kind of sound that usually got lost in the morning chaos. Today, it felt grounding. The second they reached their dressing room and the door clicked shut behind them, Kelly turned and wrapped her arms tightly around him. She buried her face in his chest, letting out a breath she had been holding for months. Mark stroked her back slowly. You okay? She shook her head against him. Not really, but in a good way. He chuckled quietly, warm, soft, the kind that vibrated through his chest. You were incredible out there. So were you, she whispered, pulling back to look him in the eyes. You were brave. I was ambushed, he smirked gently. There's a difference. Kelly swatted his arm. Oh please, if I didn't say something today, I was going to explode. And I think people needed to hear it. Mark let his gaze drift downward, his expression softening. You know the hardest part of all this hasn't been the symptoms. It's been watching you worry. Kelly felt tears prick her eyes again. How could I not? I'm supposed to take care of you. You do. Every day. Even when you think you're falling apart. She reached up and brushed a thumb against his cheek. I don't want to pretend anymore, and I don't want you to feel like you're fighting something alone. He leaned his forehead against hers, closing his eyes. I won't, not after today. A knock sounded at the door. Kelly, Mark. It was their producer, smiling warmly when they opened the door. I just wanted to say, that was one of the most honest, powerful moments we've ever had on this show. Thank you for trusting us. Kelly squeezed Mark's hand. Thank you for giving us space. The producer nodded. We're behind you both, whatever you need. As she left, Kelly turned back to Mark. See, we're not alone. He sighed, emotion shining in his eyes. I didn't realize how much I needed to hear that. Stay tuned for all the updates about Kelly Ripa. We are the first to publish all the information about Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos, so stay with us to get all the latest updates. And stay tuned to our USA Daily Drop for all updates.